Hair is one of the most frequently found pieces of the evidence at the scene of a violent crime. Unfortunately, hair is not the best type of physical evidence for establishing identity. It is not possible to show with any certainty that two hairs came from the same person or animal. However, hair can be used to rule out certain suspects or scenarios. It can also be used to corroborate, support other physical evidence if it is consistent with the rest of the evidence. Under a microscope, a cuticle of a dog hair appears as a series of overlapping scales or cells that give a rough, scaly appearance. The thickness and shape of the cuticle cells can vary depending on the type of dog hair being examined. And the cortex under a microscope appears as a densely packed layer of elongated cells with honeycomb-like appearance, while the medulla is not clearly visible under the microscope, but it may appear as a central channel or core that may be continuous or fragmented pattern.
Under a microscope, cuticles of the bow hair appears to transparent cells that overlap like shingles on a roof. These cells are known as cuticular scales that play an important role in protecting the inner layer of the hair. And the cortex of cow hair appears as a dense packed collection of cells called cortical cells, while the medulla appears as fragmented or segmented pattern because it is a pigmented, light, and evenly spaced. The cuticle of the horsehair, like the other animals, under microscope, it appears as a series of overlapping flattened cells that form a protective layer around the hair shaft, and the cortex appears as the dense network of spindle-shaped cells that are arranged in the hair shaft. There is also the presence of pigment granules, while the medulla of the cow under microscope appear as a cylindrical or irregular shaped channel that runs through the center of the horsehair.
The cuticle hair of the goat under the microscope appears as a series of latent transparent cells that overlap like shingles on a rope. Within the cortex, there are bundles of long parallel fibers called intermediate filaments, and the medulla under the microscope, it appears as continuous patterns because it is an unbroken line of color through the center of the hair. Microscope, the pig hair is forming a cylindrical shape with a slightly flattened cross section, and the scales of cuticles appear as series of overlapping layers with slightly rough textures, but the cuticles can vary in shape and size depending on the species and breed of the pig. On the other hand, the cortex of the pig under microscope appears as dense, homogeneous mass elongated cells that are arranged parallel to the shaft, while the presence of medulla is not very visible or may it is absent.
Nylon fibers are typically smooth and uniform in diameter, with a slightly shiny surface. Under a microscope, they appear as long, straight, and cylindrical strands. Nylon fiber can be transparent or opaque and can be dyed in a wide range of colors.
Banana fiber is thin and flexible and has a smooth, glossy surface. Under a microscope, it appears a long, slender strand with an uniform diameter. Banana fiber is typically pale, yellow, or white color. Coconut fiber, also known as a coir, is characterized by its tough and fibrous texture. Under a microscope, it appears as long, thick, and irregular shaped strand. Coconut fiber is typically brown in color and has a rough, abrasive surface.
Cotton fibers are typically short and fluffy with a twisted, irregular shape. Under a microscope, they appear as small, twisted strands with a rough, uneven surface. Cotton fibers are typically white in color and are very soft and absorbent. When viewing yarn fibers under a microscope,
You can observe the individual fibers that make up the yarn. If you are looking at cotton yarn fibers, you may be able to see the natural scales that run along their length. Yarn fiber, it can have a smooth or textured surface. Yarn fibers are typically soft and pliable and can be spun into a variety of different textures and width.
Are long smooth under in the microscope. The hair is still black and have a curve in front. It is straight and the portion of hair have a small lump.
Bird hair exhibited brittleness and a slight darkening of color. At the distal end of the shaft, bubbles were seen in the medulla that grew larger.
When combing falling hair, hair is released and displayed under damaged. Natural falling hair has a thin shape, fine texture, and gradually darkening color. Under a microscope, the medulla of the lost hair is not present due to its thin shape. Forced hair are short with a curve of shape and the tip is more darker. Since it was forcefully removed, the appearance of the hair is stretched and bent. The medulla is not present due to the darker color.